Good evening, Tsupiteros, and welcome to another edition of Pillow Talks. Again, I'll start off with analyzing the PSEI index. So let's go straight to the charts. Well, in the last 1 week, the market hardly did anything. For the week, the market only dropped by like 34 points. And we're still trading in that very, very narrow band and narrow consolidation of the market. Every day the consolidation gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And at some point, we are going to break out or break down from this consolidation. But at the moment, it's just going nowhere. So what's happening to the market right now is that, there's specific plays in the markets. With regards to the index constituents itself, there's really not much going on. So the levels to watch out for are the low here at 5,825 and the previous highs here at about just above 6,000. But be careful. Even if we break below this level here, we're not really sure yet that the market is going to trend down unless we convincingly break down below 5,700. Okay, so it's actually possible that the market breaks below 5,825, creates a bear trap, and then rebounds back up. All right. Or in the same manner here, that the market could probably break above 6,000, but do a bull trap and then drop back down. So unless we really break below 5,700 or above this previous high of 6,167, I wouldn't be too sure that the market is going to start trending. Okay, so for now, just expect prices to be, to just continue to be erratic, go up and down, and I don't know. Hopefully, the volatility can increase or become bigger soon. Okay, so that's it. There's not much to say about this index for now. The COVID cases are still very consistent. We're still having new cases of about 2,000 to 3,000 cases a day. So, unless that number drops to around 1,000 or below 1,000, then I think this market is just gonna go sideways at best. Okay, for now. Okay, so before I continue with my video for tonight, I'd like to thank one of my sponsors, APS Online. If you want to trade with a broker that has excellent research, do trade with APS Online. Okay, I have a PowerPoint presentation here for you. Okay, okay, let me start off with an update on Altus Property Ventures. Last Thursday, okay, was it Thursday or Friday? Let me check. Okay, it was 15. Yeah, last Thursday, the company came out with an updated report by owner of more than 5%. And they also came out with an updated report on the list of their top 100 stockholders, as well as an updated public ownership report. So all these three reports came out last Thursday. The report by the owner of more than 5% came out before the market opened, and the list of the top 100 came out around 11:30, and the public ownership report came out after the close. Okay, so why is this important for Altus Property Ventures? Well, primarily, it's because it will give us an exact number, an exact figure of how much more foreign funds there are in Altus. If you remember, The primary reason why Altus Property Ventures has been dropping consistently every day, every week, for the last couple of months is because of these foreign selling, So if all these foreign selling have already done with their selling, then there is a possibility for Altus to start going higher because of the less supply in the market. Okay? So let me go back to my PowerPoint presentation. So, as of June 30, there were 13.8 million shares in Altus. Okay? And of those 13.8 million shares, 10 million were held by Deutsche Bank. Okay? As of the latest report, which came out last Thursday, which was as of the close of September 30, there were only 9.8 million shares left. Okay, so the foreign funds sold about 4 million shares between June 30 and September 30. Okay, and Deutsche Bank only had 6.3 million shares left. Okay, but from October 1 to October 16, I'll go to my charts here. You'll notice, starting October 7, the volume suddenly spiked up in Altus, okay? So, the increase in volume enabled the foreign funds to sell a lot more than what they normally would, okay? So, what happened was, between October 1 to October 16, okay, foreign funds actually sold another 6.7 million shares. And Deutsche Bank was able to sell 5.2 million shares. Okay? So, the balance of Deutsche Bank as of today is now just 1,080,000 shares. And the number of shares that are held by the foreign funds in APVI is, approximately 3.1 million shares. Okay, so I guess you're gonna ask, are all these 3.1 million shares going to sell? Not necessarily. Some of these funds actually may have entered in the market just in the last few days in October. Okay, when the volume in Altus started to rise. Okay, so. And let me go to my next slide here. So let me detail to you what happened from October 7 up to October 16 in APVI. Okay, so these are the amounts of the foreign selling. Okay, so these are in pesos. So like in October 7, there were almost 16 million pesos worth of foreign selling. And from October 7 all the way to October 16, foreign funds sold almost 67 million worth in APVI. Okay? And of those amount, Deutsche sold 55 million pesos worth and Mandarin sold 10 million pesos worth. I'm guessing that Mandarin and Deutsche are only one fund that is actually selling into Altus Property Ventures. And if you will go back to this report, which is called the report by the owner of more than 5%, you will see here that the fund that is selling Altus is this fund here. Here, it is APG's Emerging Markets Equity Pool. Okay, it is a Netherlands-based fund, which obviously has shares in RLC. Okay, and are cashing in on their dividends by selling their shares in APVI. All right, so this is the fund that I suppose is using Deutsche Bank and Mandarin. Okay, so if you add these two shares, these two amounts, it more or less it will equal about 66 million pesos worth. Okay. Okay, so another thing that you'll notice here in this table here is that you'll from October 7 they sold 16 million worth. October 8 they sold 8 million worth. October 9 almost 16 million. October 15 they sold 10 million. And then October 16 last Friday they only sold less than 2 million pesos worth. Okay, so what does that mean? And you'll notice in the chart of Altus, the buyers suddenly became a bit more aggressive towards the close in Altus. You know, I think it was in the last 30 minutes of trading when Altus went from 11 all the way to 1188. Okay, so what happened? I think the market has begun to conclude that APG, what is the name of that stock, of that fund again? APG Emerging Markets may have already sold all its shares in the market already, and you know there's not much supply that is coming out from these foreign funds at current levels. You know, so I guess that's the reason why the market suddenly started to become more aggressive in APVI last Friday. So, you know, if that's true, then who knows, you know, prices might continue to climb higher from here. I'm targeting this red line here in the short term, which is, you know, near the 15 peso level. This previous high here is 1476. So that would be my short-term target for APVI, unless of course, you know, some news comes out that you know, a backdoor listing will be, you know, executed by the Gokongweis and APVI. You know, so unless there is news, or unless some story comes out, then I'll be looking at about 14 to 15 for APVI in the short term. But if there's some news, then who knows, you know. Again, at 15 pesos, the stock is just trading at 1.5 billion market cap. So I think at current levels, it's a good investment for Altus. And if you have the patience for it, if you can wait for it, you know, just buy the stock and wait for what the Gokongweis are going to do with Altus Property Ventures. You know, eventually they will do something with the company, and hopefully they will, you know, backdoor list some, you know, one of their companies into APVI. So there you go. That's my take on Altus. That's my update on Altus. So before I continue with my video for tonight, I'd like to thank another one of my sponsors, AAA Equities. If you'd like to trade with a broker that has automated stops and automated breakout orders, do trade with AAA Equities. Okay, so my next topic for tonight would of course be on the news that the President has lifted the moratorium on oil and gas exploration in the West Philippine Sea. Okay, so you know, a lot of traders might be thinking, what stocks are actually affected by this news? You know, obviously the oil stocks are affected, but which ones? You know, which are the ones that will be directly affected by this news, and which one are not? You know, because if you notice last Friday, almost all the oil stocks went to the roof. You know, and there were some that went to the ceiling. There were some that, you know, climbed up but closed at the lows. You know, but virtually almost all of them moved last Friday. You know, so let me clear that out on what stocks you should actually be buying if you want to have if you want to add display into your portfolio. Okay, let me go back here to the next slide. Okay, so what's at stake at the West Philippine Sea? Okay, based on Kaplan's book, Asia's Cauldron, there are about 7 billion barrels of oil and 900 trillion cubic feet of natural gas proven to lie beneath the West Philippine Sea. Okay, so at $40 per barrel, that's about $280 billion worth of oil. And at $2.5 per thousand cubic feet of natural gas, that's $2.25 trillion worth of natural gas. Okay, so it's massive. Okay, the potential of the reserves there are just mind-boggling and unimaginable. Okay, so now you know why China is hell-bent on grabbing this property from us. Okay, they know the potential. They know what's in there. That's why they are doing everything they can to get their hands in that property. Okay. So there are 3 service contracts that are directly affected by this news. Okay, these are Service Contract 59, SC 72, and SC 75. Okay, SC 59 is 100% owned by PNOC. Okay, so since PNOC is not listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange, then we cannot invest in PNOC. All right. With regards to SC 72, okay, this is the one which is situated in Reed Bank. Okay, all right. So this is 70% owned by Forum Energy and 30% owned by Monte Oro. Okay, Forum Energy, on the other hand, is 80%. It's almost 80% owned by PXP, and 20% owned by Atok Big Wedge. Okay, so that's the reason why PXP and AB went to the ceiling last Friday. Okay. Apex owns 100% of Monte Oro. Okay. So Apex actually has a pretty big participation also in SC72. All right. And why did Felix move? Well, Felix owns 30% of PXP. Okay? All right, so with regards to SC75, the economic interests of PXP here is 50%. PERC owns 15% of SC75, and the balance is owned by PNOC. Okay? So the direct players in this news are PXP, Atok Big Wedge, APX, and PERC. Okay? Felix has an indirect participation here simply because it owns 30% of PXP. Okay? So that's it. So there's just 1, 2, PXP, AB, Apex, PERC, Felix. Okay, those 5 companies have direct, participation in this news. PERC is only has a 15% stake in SC75. Okay, so that's not a pretty substantial amount. All right. There were also other stocks that moved last Friday, but don't have any participation at all at either, SC59, 72, or 75. So, ACEX moved, OPM and OV moved, but they don't have any participation or economic interest at all on those service contracts. Brown, I think Brown also moved because I think some people in the market thought that Brown still owns Monte Oro, but I think if I'm not mistaken, last 2014, Brown already sold its entire stake in Monte Oro to Apex. That is why Apex already owns 100% of Monte Oro. Okay? And I'd like to show you this map of the Philippines. Okay, and using my cursor here, I'd like to show you where exactly is SC72, SC75, and SC59. Okay, this part of the map here is the West Philippine Sea. Okay, and this red here, this is SC72. Okay, and here is SC75, and here at the bottom here is SC59. Okay, so they're all right beside Palawan. Okay, and of course, no, even though the main problem about this issue on the West Philippine Sea is that, as you all know, it is being disputed by the claims here in this property is being disputed by China as well as us and other neighboring Asian countries. With regards to those in Reed Bank, SC72, 75, it is only us and China that are disputing who owns that land, no? And it's actually the problem here. It doesn't really matter whether our government does allow exploration in this area, but China has to agree. If China doesn't agree and they say no, you cannot explore, then it doesn't really matter unless we go to war. So that's really the problem here. And if you think that China will be amenable to a joint exploration and a joint project on recovering oil and natural gas in this area, then do by either PXP or Atok Big Wedge or Apex, but if you believe that China will not do so and they will not, and they will hold steadfast, and they will continue to be matigas on their decision on not to give on their stance that these waters are in their vicinity, then I suggest that you take disadvantage on the hype on these stocks and sell into these stocks right now. Okay, so again, it all boils down to this. Do you believe that the Philippines and China can get along? So if you do, then do buy these stocks. If you don't, then sell into strength into these stocks. So that's it for this edition of Pillow Talks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something again from me. Do subscribe and like to our videos in YouTube. If you missed this video and other videos in the past, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch it again there. So that's it. See you next week again. Bye.